Hello, hello. Greetings and salutations. Aloha, kakahiaka. Mm. Thanks for joining me. If this is the first time you've ever caught one of my live broadcasts, I encourage you to just stop for a minute, go grab a mug or a glass of juice or some water, whatever. Kick back for a few minutes with me, will you? I'd love to chat. My name is Ronnie Harden, and by trade, I am an editor. I'm a content writer. I'm a writing coach. I help people write their stories, craft their stories. Former English teacher. Love lots of books. As you can see behind me, love lots of books. I have books here on my desk. I have books here on my desk. I have books over here on my desk. I love books and I love stories, and that's what we are celebrating on this live broadcast. So thanks for joining. Good morning, good morning. There is my sweet girl, my daughter Savannah. She is a graphics design major. She's working on her homework. A lot going on this week. What a week it's been, guys. Has it been that way for you? And you realize that Christmas is, if I'm not mistaken, let me just peruse my calendar here. But I'm pretty sure 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that true? Let me go back. Hold on. Let me make sure. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Guys. Christmas is 7 weeks from today. 7 weeks from today, we're going to be celebrating Christmas. Are you ready? Have you even thought about getting ready? Right? Because we come out of Halloween and, there's the whole kerfluffle about do we start pulling out the decorations and playing Christmas music before Thanksgiving? I mean, I know a lot of people as of November 1st. Here it came. Sirius XM, even this week on like Thursday, let me know, hey, here's your holiday channels. So, I don't know about you. I try to come into the holiday season peacefully and calmly and enjoy it. And for the last few years, of course, 2020, the year that we will try not to name, that was an interesting holiday. This year, we're kind of still rolling out of that, right? So I don't know about you, but I don't know if I'm ready. I'm trying to be ready. So if you're looking for gift ideas, if you're looking for, if you've got readers in your family, I have some book recommendations that I want to make for you as gift ideas. Books that came out this week. I'm going to be talking a lot about that. And next week, guys, is a special broadcast because I will be celebrating my 400th episode. I need a sound cube like, yay! 400 episodes. 400 episodes. And 400 episodes on just this software platform that I use to live stream, where I can go live in different places on Facebook and on my YouTube channel. 400 episodes. That's been a lot of talking on the internet. I started live streaming in 2014 before live streaming was a thing. I remember people laughing at me about my little show I did on an app called Periscope. Any of you remember Periscope? Joel, you ever use it? Yep. I started in 2014 live streaming. So raw. I go back and look at some of those live streams now, and I'm like, people actually got up in the morning to have coffee with me and listen to me go on. What a story, right? 400 episodes of live streaming, and here I am today, hopefully doing a better job. You've seen lots of iterations with me. You've seen me with curly hair. You've seen me with no hair at all. And then now this is my hair going back, and it's straighter, guys. It's straighter. Chemo definitely straightened my hair out a little bit. So it's still as big and thick, and it's straighter. I don't know, though. I don't know. Jury's still out. We'll see. But I've got some gift ideas for you. So if you've got readers in your family, you love to read, I've got some books that I'll share with you. So let's see. 1, 2, 3. 3 of them came out this week. They literally came out Tuesday. So first one is the book we're doing in my book club. It is called Wholehearted Faith. It is by Rachel Held Evans. If you are familiar with any of her work, she was such a voice for today's church, for those who are lost, who've been wounded by the church, who have been wrestling with their faith, especially in these last couple of years where the pandemic, I mean, did you find yourself going, hey, God, what's going on? What where are you? Hey, are you out there? Please tell me you're out there, right? So she was such a voice for that. And so the first book that I read that I was really intrigued by was her book called Faith Unraveled. Faith Unraveled. She lives in the town where the Scopes monkey trial happened. And her voice on asking questions, just asking questions about faith, about God, about our relationship with the spiritual. Anyway, great book. She followed that up with a book called Searching for Sunday. Okay, Searching for Sunday. And in this book, it says, for a generation that has largely said, count me out, church represents a complicated relationship of both longing and apathy. There's a history there, a past full of confusion and hurt, but a past that often is impossible to abandon. In Searching for Sunday, Rachel Held Evans exposes her own thorny relationship with the church, articulating the concerns, frustrations, and hopes of many of her peers. Through a series of stories told around the church's sacraments, baptism, confession, communion, and others, Evans offers the beginnings of a roadmap back to church and the resurrection that awaits when we are willing to give up and begin again. So she has written some great books about wrestling with our faith, asking the hard, honest questions, being okay with the fact that occasionally you may doubt and wonder what's going on. This, unfortunately, has resulted in this final book by Rachel Held Evans. Rachel, unfortunately, in 2019 passed away. She had some complications from an infection that she was going through. We lost her at the age of 37. And it was a sad thing because she was such a voice for today's generation of those who are on the line, on the fence, on the margins, in the fringes, God's people who he's trying to go after. So this book right here, Rachel says, I've come to believe that wholehearted faith isn't just about coming to terms with the heart that beats inside me. Wholeheartedness is about seeing and comprehending my place in a bigger family of faith. It is about risking hurt and confusion for the sake of the thing that so many of us seek, belonging. And I think especially after the pandemic, which has really isolated a lot of people, and for the first time in a lot of extroverts' lives, really put them in a situation where they've had to wrestle with who they are and their place in the world, right? Find my place in this world. I don't know why that song pops up every time I say those words, but you know what I'm saying, right? Maybe you've experienced that. Maybe you were raised in a background of faith, or maybe you've had elements of faith in your life that have carried you, but every time you try to get connected to a church, it gets weird. and then you just run and you don't want anything to do with it, right? And yet that affects your relationship with the divine, right? That is your connection from where creativity and things come from. So how do we get back to that? So Rachel was starting this book when she passed. Her husband found manuscripts and things, contacted very close friends of hers who had worked with her on her other books, and wanted to put this out. So this is the last thing we have from Rachel Held Evans, along with essays and different people who were close to her, worked with her own husband, and shares a deeper side of who she was, so that when we hear her words, we get the sense of the message that she was trying to deliver. So great book. We're doing this in book club. If you're interested in joining book club. I will share a link at the end of this broadcast. I'll also put it in my groups and post on social media. If you would like to be a part of the book club, let me know. We are reading the book this month. We have 2 live discussion dates that we set where we get together on Zoom. We have coffee or whatever, and we talk about the things we're reading, and we're discussing them in the context of how our week has been or our month has been. And great diversity of people from across the country. There are people from Massachusetts and Arizona and North Dakota and Tennessee and Texas. And so a variety of voices. And I love to have that, especially when we're discussing things like this. So Wholehearted Faith, this is our book club pick for this month. Now, for December, because we're coming into the holiday season, we're going to be cooking meals, we're going to be hanging out with friends, we're going to be coming up with ideas for gifts. But my gift to my book club was to do this book, which if you know Tabitha Brown from social media, you know, she can, hello there. How you doing this morning, right? Because it's my business. I love her. I love her. I love her. Could I say any more how much I love her? When I come across her on social media, whether it's on Instagram or I see a post or I see other people, one of my favorite comedians and influencers on social media, Kev on Stage. When I watch them interact on social media, when I see their presence on social media, and I can just feel when I see this woman's face, I don't care what it is on social media that I'm about to see. I know I'm going to feel like I've been left with a big warm hug. And that's what I love about her. So she has a book called Feeding the Soul. Feeding the Soul. Good morning, Carol. Good morning, friend. How you doing? I can't wait to see you. Can't wait to see you. Feeding the Soul by Tabitha Brown. Finding our way to joy, love, and freedom. Well, we're going to be celebrating. We're going to be in the season in December. A season of joy, a season of love, a season of celebrating, and a celebration of true freedom with the Christmas story, right? So we're going to be reading this book. Also in here, if you have followed Tabitha on social media, you know she is a vegan. And her post that blew her up was about trying to find some kind of alternative. So I don't know if it was like a burger or something with vegan. And she went viral on social media because she has a physical condition where she has to eat this way. Her diet has to be this way. So not only does she share great tidbits, what she calls TBAs, Tabitha Brown announcements, and TSAs, Tabitha's spiritual announcements, or Tabitha says, I can't remember what they're called, but it's funny. Her book starts out and it says, Tabitha service announcements. That's what they're called. Be sure to keep your eyes open for my popular TSAs, Tabitha service announcements, and some of my favorite easy vegan recipes from my YouTube and TikTok channels. She is on all the things and doing well. But look here, honey. I love that. I know you'll be looking for measurements and things, and if I have them, I'll give them to you. But in Tab's Kitchen, we cook by the Spirit. Like I always say, if you need an exact recipe every time you cook, you don't trust yourself. Let's trust ourselves, and however much you are moved to use, that's what you use. I love that. So it is part her story, and it's also part cookbook recipes, if you will. We're going to be doing this in the month of December. So if you have a cook, if you have someone who's been trying to go vegan, have a vegan diet for whatever reason, I'm going to take a drink of water here. This thing in my throat, it always flares up at the wrong times, but it'll pass. So back to this book. So Tabitha's book, we're going to be doing this during the month of December in my book club. So if you want to get a copy of this, I will be sharing the link to this, Feeding the Soul by Tabitha Brown. Great book. Also on tab for book club, this released this week too. Excuse me. And when I saw the title and I read what it's about, I thought, thanks, Lord. Thank you. A book for book club that I think we're going to start the year out with because I know I'm going to want to do it. I'm going to need to do it. And in fact, in my book club, one of the ladies in there said, Renee, are you sure you didn't write this book? I'm positive I did not write this book, but I can't wait to read this book. So we're going to start off book club in the month of January with this book that was released just this past week. But it's called Saving Grace. Speak your truth, stay centered, and learn to coexist with people who drive you nuts. If you know me, you know why my friend asked if I wrote this book. But I'm excited. Kirsten Powers is a CNN political analyst. She's a USA Today columnist. She's been a bestseller before, and she is writing this book about grace because she is also, from what I can tell, a Christian, a woman of God, has a level of faith. And so she's going to talk about what grace really means, and that grace is not this whole soft little mamby-pamby of, oh, there's just grace. It's about the transformative and very forward-moving force that transforms a person's life. That's what grace is. And it comes in many forms. And I can't wait to read about them. So this book is going to be great. We're going to be doing this in the month of January. So if you want to get on the list, and all of these books, I'll be sharing links to how you can get them. Also, another fun book. This is one we're not doing book club yet, but we might. It sounds really interesting, and I love the author. So if you are familiar with Tuesdays with Maury or The Next Person I See in Heaven, if you've ever read those books, Mitch Albom has a new book out. This one just released this week, and it's called The Stranger in the Lifeboat. So you remember when I said how we have moments where, goodness, where we're wondering where God is in the middle of things, like especially with this pandemic. Good grief. Yeah, a vegan BLT. Was that what it was, Carol? She was looking for a vegan BLT. That's the post that went viral. Yes. Right. Just getting out there on social. But the thing about her is she's genuine. She's genuine. She's herself. When you see her, I hope that when you see me on social media, you know what my presence is going to be like, right? Okay, so back to this book. Mitch Albom. If you've read Tuesdays with Maury or you've seen the movie, great story. So in this one, the premise of this book is, what would happen if we called on God for help and God actually appeared? So in this book, this is about a group of shipwrecked passengers who've just experienced this explosion on a ship. And 9 people are struggling to stay alive. So 3 days pass. They're running out of food. They have no idea if someone even knows that they've, capsized and are going to be, or not capsized, but that the boat exploded and they're out there floating in the water, hoping somebody will find them. So adrift in a raft after a deadly ship explosion, 9 people struggle for survival at sea. Thank the Lord we found you, a passenger says. Okay, so they spot this guy floating in the water. They're in the water, but they see this other guy. They don't know if he's part of the crew of the ship or not. So they pull him in. Thank the Lord we found you, a passenger says. I am the Lord, the man whispers. And so begins Mitch Albom's most beguiling and inspiring novel yet. In The Stranger in the Lifeboat, Albom keeps us guessing until the end. Is the stranger and a very quiet man who is really who he claims to be? What actually happened to cause the explosion? Are the survivors already in heaven or are they in hell? Who is this guy? Is he really God? And so that sounds like a fun book. We might do this book in book club. I don't know, but it sounds like a fun one, doesn't it? So if you want to get any of these books, if you have readers in your family or you're looking for suggestions on where to get some stuff, I'll be sharing the notes to this in the in my posts. Let me get this out of the way here. All right. So, Wholehearted Faith, Feeding the Soul by Tad Brown, Stranger in the Lifeboat by Mitch Albom. I'll be sharing links to how you can get all of these books, just great books that came out, right? Great stories, because there's always great stories happening and things that are going on. So I want to share some fun things that happened because I haven't seen you guys in a couple of weeks, and there's been a lot going on. A lot going on. How has your week been? What's been going on in your life? Michael and I took a 10-day trip. We were in California. Part of the reason why we took that trip, and Michael sort of crafted it the way he did, is that he had his 40th college reunion at Stanford, and so we also have a niece who's in law school out there. But he wanted to spend times visiting his friends. We also caught a couple of concerts out there, and because we were in California, we had the time and the weather was great. We took the time and drove down the coast. So we flew into San Francisco. We were at Stanford for his reunion. While we were there, I did a 5K on the campus as part of my fundraising and celebration that I am post-cancer 1 year. And I love participating in this walk. And so we did the 5K there on the Stanford campus this year, and I've raised funds to help support cancer research. Do what you can to support cancer research. You help women like me who are going through or have been through breast cancer treatment. So that was fun. And then we drove down the coast. We drove down the PCH, went through like Big Sur. Beautiful. However, may I share with you just what happened, because I don't know if you guys heard about the weather that hit California. We were stuck in some pretty bad weather out there. And so this is what we drove in. So it was beautiful and it was fun, but it was 4 hours of this. Rain. Let me see if I can get this started for you. Here we go. Check this out. This is Michael very carefully, very safely and cautiously driving along the PCH. Now, you know, to the right is the ocean. It's the water. If you've ever driven down the PCH in California, you know that the cliffs are right there. It's not like San Diego where the beaches are just everything is right there on the edge. No, this is mountains. This is Big Sur. So we drove in this rain for 5 hours, and Michael got us to the hotel that he had reserved online to stay at as a stopping point on our way down, because we didn't, want to spend long days driving. And so we get in, and it's raining. We got there just as the sun had started going down, so it was dark. It was raining. We couldn't see anything. The storm was going on. We were hungry. We just got some food. We got in our hotel room. We opened the sliding door thing, and literally, like, the ocean was right there, the edge, and you could hear it in the rain, but couldn't see anything because it was dark, of course. So scary, right? Also, because the weather was so intense, the hotel's Wi-Fi was out because, of course, Lord knows they're out in the middle of nowhere anyway. And so they said, you can try, but they were even having trouble just trying to get people checked in because all of the systems were messed up. So they were just getting everybody, we were able to get food. They said, we'll try it, but hopefully it'll connect, but we're not sure. So while we were there, we didn't have any kind of cell service or internet service. So that was interesting. But I tell you this story to show you this, because the next morning when we woke up, it was clear and sunny, and the storm had passed and the sun was out, and we realized where we were. So there was this really cool thing as we were walking around the property, and we were like, what is that? That's kind of a cool, is that a sculpture? What is that? Well, if you're able to zoom in on your screen, what it says is Portal to Big Sur. Portal to Big Sur. Well, what does that mean? Oh, so then I stood and I went to the portal to look out the portal, and this is what I saw. We were in one of the most beautiful places in our country. If you've ever seen, I want you to do a Google search on Big Sur and look up pictures. I have pictures and video clips, guys. I mean, couldn't share them immediately that day because we had no internet service. But to see that, to experience the sound of the waves crashing on the cliffs below, and just to the right of that, to the very far right in the corner of the, up against the mountain there, was a waterfall that I was able to take a picture of. And I mean, just unbelievable. I have more pictures from this trip, but the beauty that we were able to see. So then, of course, we went on down, drove down to Santa Barbara, spent the night there on our way down to outside of San Diego, where Michael has some friends from college that we stayed with, got to visit with them for a couple of days, went to see a show, came back to Los Angeles, spent the last couple of days there, us together, just doing fun things. I went to the Getty Center Museum and had a wonderful time and came back home. And all along the way, I'm able to work, which I love. So it was fascinating to be in that kind of creative environment, right? And why am I saying this? Well, because this month in the writing world, it's called NaNoWriMo. And I know you've probably seen that pop up. Here, I'll put it on the screen here so you can see what it is. See, I'll add it right here. Oops, missed it. Hold on. Here we go. There we go. There it is. So you've probably seen this pop up on social media in different places. You'll see me posting about it and talking about it. Well, what is NaNoWriMo? Well, in the writing world, November is the month where people work on their novels. And the goal is 50,000 words in 30 days. 50,000 words in 30 days. So this is my NaNoWriMo mug for today that I'm sharing, right? So I love sharing that. It's fun. So what a lot of authors are doing is they're working on their novels, on their stories to add chapters or even to finish their book so they can get it published. But what if you're a new writer? What if you're not like all these authors that I've shown you their books by? What if you're not to that level yet and you want to just start writing to share your stuff regularly, maybe on social media or on a blog, or you've got an organization that you work for, and you want to get some employee communication out regularly, or maybe you just want to do an email newsletter to your friends and family for the holidays, right? How do you get started writing? Well, what I do for the month of November is I focus on it from the aspect and call it National Novice Writers Month, meaning that my focus is to help people who are interested in writing, who've never really taken the step to really write consistently and regularly, and work with them to practice doing that. I'm doing it myself. I'm in a group with one of my business mentors, John Acuff, who you've heard me talk about many times on this broadcast. He's written a lot of great books on setting goals and how to accomplish them. I've walked with John here for the last 10 years, just watching his growth as an author, watching how he progresses and encourages others, and the work that he puts in to learn about something as far as reaching your potential as a creative. And so I'm currently in a 90-day group with him where we are working on specific goals. Each of us had to pick 3 things that we are going to work on consistently for 90 days. One of my goals is writing 100 words a day. Well, what I'm finding is I write more than 100 words a day, because even if you just try to download, say, what you did in a day, or even if you look back in your social media posts, you've got lots of resources that will prompt you, that are seeds of writing that you've been doing. Or maybe you have a story that you've told. I've got clients that I'm working with right now who we're helping get their story crafted and fine-tuned so that they're ready to publish it on a certain day, right? And they're working on that. So I love to help people do that. And so that's why for the month of November, a lot of the things that you'll see me post and talk about are going to be encouragement for writing. There are going to be some, funny things about writing to kind of take some of the pressure off. Some really cool stories to help just spark some creativity, right? So that's why, like, I shared that picture with you, because that looking at that picture, I remember that story of us driving and the storm. That's what I wrote about. And how we woke up the next day and realized that the place that we were staying is a resort destination. It's not resort in like super mega expensive, but the place has got a restaurant which serves great food. I'm not talking like, they have another little hamburger eatery place that does like hamburgers and sandwiches and hot dogs and things like that. Then they have a restaurant, which is a fine dining restaurant. They also have a coffee espresso place. They have a little general store. So, I mean, it has everything there that you need. And when we got up the next morning and we're looking at all the different places, and we were looking at, and I took even more pictures and clips that if I would have to have a whole nother broadcast just to show you that. But that's a story. That picture right there, when I see it, a story comes to mind. And so I've been writing, and I wrote all along our trip about all the different places we stopped at. I'm going to be sharing those here. They're in draft form, because what I did, again, is I'm trying to write 100 words a day. So in my website, on my blog section, I have over a month and a half of draft blog posts that I've just written the ideas and gotten the meat of the idea of the story of this picture right there, so that when I go back to it, oh yeah, I remember what happened, and I can add in more details and share that. So I'll be sharing about our trip that we took, and the wonderful things that we saw, and the places that we went, and the things that that we got to do. Maybe you've got something like that going on in your life. Maybe you're just writing about your family because you are so busy with everything going on. Maybe you work from home and you run a business alongside raising a family in the middle of the pandemic, right? Maybe you're a creative and you want to share about what you do. Let people know what you do, so that you can maybe collaborate or work with them, right? I like to let authors know that they're not alone in this journey of writing. A lot of people are writing their stories, and I want to encourage them to write their story and add it to this big patchwork of stories that we have going on around us all the time. So it's part of that creativity. Here's a story that came along this week. I was looking at different things, and I realized that the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees were inducted. Dave Grohl, who recently released his own memoir. The Foo Fighters were inducted into the Hall of Fame, so it was cool. And I was looking up all this stuff with these artists. And then I realized, guys, did you know that the band Abba, after 40 years, has released a new album? You can go on Spotify and listen to it right now. I listened to it last night. 40 years later. I mean, can you imagine? They split up, they quit performing. Their music has been playing for 40 years. Do you know? Can you list your favorite ABBA song? I can think of several of them, right? Whatever age you are, you know an ABBA song. If you've been alive for the past 40 years, or boy, you know an ABBA song. If you've seen the musical Mamma Mia or the movie, you know ABBA music, right? They released a new album. But not only that, when I was reading about what they're doing, guys, they have created what are called digital avatars. Avatars? What do I mean by that? Avatars. Well, not only did they release their album, but check this out. This is the coolest thing I've seen. I mean, this is, oops, hold on. Let's do it this way. This is truly one of the coolest things I think I've seen, and I can't wait for you to see this. So take a minute and just watch this.
It's a new tour.
It's a new tour.
Haven't been out there for
Haven't
40
been out there
years.
for 40 years. And you
After 40 years.
after 40 years is absolutely incredible.
First it was just two.
First it was just two songs.
And
And then we said, well, maybe we should do, I don't know, a few others. What do you say, girls? And they say, yeah. Then I asked them, well, why don't we just do a whole album?
The first song, I still have faith in you.
I
I
knew
knew
when
when
Benny played the
played
melody, I
I
just knew
it
it had to be about us. It's about realizing that it's inconceivable to be where we are. No imagination could dream up that. To release a new album after 40 years and still be the best of friends and still be enjoying each other's company and have a total loyalty. Who has experienced that? Nobody.
This is where it gets cool.
People have often talked about whether you can create either people who have lived in the past or people when they were younger. And we actually create Abba in their prime. 1979, we are creating them as digital characters that we will then be using form to capture techniques to animate them and form them and make them look perfectly real. And that started first of all with present day Abbas. We did some performance capture on them, and that's formed the basis for the whole of the project, the backbone.
Agneta, Frida, Benny got on the stage in front of 160 cameras and almost as many VFX geniuses. And they performed every song in this show to perfection over 5 weeks, capturing every mannerism, every emotion, the soul of their beings. So that becomes the great magic of this endeavor, that when you see this show, it is not a version of or a copy of what people pretending to be Abba. It is actually them.
What you're going to see when you come to this show is us.
We're going to have 4 of ILM's global studios working on the project. So the team size, it will certainly be somewhere between 500 and 1,000 artists around the world.
We were in London 3 years ago. I said to you, do you think it's very clever if we try to tour this thing? Because it's technically immensely complicated. It's the screens, the sound, all the lights. So I said, why don't we do it here? Well, there's no arena, he said. And I said, well, we can build one. London is the town.
The challenge has always been merging the digital with the physical. Make digital Abba come into the physical world and for the boundaries between those two worlds to disappear. Our director, Bailey Walsh, had to crack that code, and as simple as it sounds, but he did it with light. Light is the connector. Light and audio and this environment is going to be a unique space to be in, which is neither digital nor physical.
You guys, are you flipping out? I have no words to be able to accomplish this, I mean, think of the creativity. Think of the creativity. Think of the stories that will be told. And for me, a true artist, their measure is the fact that 40 years later, they can still create their great art and put it in a new form for generations to come. Ah, how about that? That's a story. And what is really a story would be being there to experience it. So let me just tell you, I feel a London trip coming on. I feel one forming. I don't know about you, but that was the best story I saw this week. And I wanted to share it here with you because if you are familiar with their music, if their music ever marked a time in your life, or if you just love it because it's so fun, that would be something to see, right? So what a great story. And those are the kinds of things that are happening around us every single day, including in your life. So what is your story? Do you have something cool that you want to share with the world? And not just throwing it on social media, right? Because here's another story that we need to talk about on a later broadcast. But Facebook becoming Meta, that's so meta. That's like so meta. That's a whole different ballgame. So what happens when these platforms change and become something that is different from what we want to use them for? Do we have the ability to create our own art in the way that suits our creative needs? That's what we do with NaNoWriMo. That's why I love to encourage people who are trying to tell their stories to tell their stories. So if you have a story that you want to create, maybe you've had an idea for one for a while. The members of Abba have been working on this for months, and they're building the arena, which is going to take even more time, but they're starting to sell tickets as of May of 2022. So while we're doing stuff, they're building. They're building. They're going to build through the holidays. They're building into the new year, and they're building so that in May of 2022, they can open up that special arena and have shows. And how many shows do you think they're going to sell? Oh, I think this is going to be because they've built an arena, this is going to be a living monument and memorial to who they are and to their music. I think it's brilliant. And I hope to be part of that story. Maybe you've got a story in you that's going to create something in your life that you never thought possible. But it starts with building slow, building consistently, building steadily, working on your words every day. Start with 100 words. Start with just 100 words. Go back and look on your social media. If you've done posts or written things, look at how much you've posted in a week. I bet you that's 100 words. So here's a great way you can get in touch with me. Again, I'm Ronee Harden, and you can go to my website right here on roneeharden.com/contact. You can let me know if you want to join the book club. You can let me know if you need the list of books that I talked about today. You can schedule time to have coffee with me if you'd like to do that. If you've got a manuscript that's kind of rough and you sort of want to have someone's eyes to look at it to tell you whether or not you think it's worth pitching to an agent or a publishing house, or maybe you just want to get it shaped up so that you can publish your own work and say, I made this, I made something, right? You created your art. Let me know if I can help with that, especially if it involves words. So you can go right here to roneeharden.com/contact. You can find out about the book club. You can get on my email list for newsletters and updates about book club, about different things that I'm offering, and exciting things that are going to be coming up in our new year. Because guys, Christmas is in 7 weeks. Christmas is in 7 weeks. So just chew on that one for a bit. Anyway, I went a little bit long because we had to catch up this week. But thanks for being here. And I hope you'll join me next Saturday, because next Saturday is the big celebration. 400 shows, 400th episode. I'm going to be cleaning out this office of books. I have so many books stacked up, guys, I can't keep them all. So I'm just going to be cleaning them out. So if you want one, come watch me next week. pop in comments, and I'll be giving away stuff and sending books and mailing them out, cleaning out my office, sharing stories with you. All right. So hope you can join me. Thanks a bunch for taking the time to, sit here with me, let me ramble. For those who have watched via replay, thanks. Really appreciate it. I love getting to spend time with you on this platform and sharing a little bit of me with you. Hope it's put a skip in your step. I hope you get out there and share your awesomeness with somebody else today. Make a difference, because you've already made a difference in mine just by being here. All right. Take care, guys. I'll see you next Saturday for episode 400.